we were aware that Jesus Christ lives in me, would anything ever daunt us? Would these problems that come to us when we fly through that point of sound? Well, that was interesting this morning. I'd never heard that before. I didn't know that anyone could ever travel as fast as sound and then go beyond it. But I've been pondering it ever since. When you overtake that point of sound, why, you get an awful lot of trouble. Well, that's what we seem to go through when we yield our lives to God. That point of giving up the human, the littleness, the limitations, the failures, and just losing it and taking hold of God. Why, there is that awful feeling that you must feel when you pass through the point of sound. But oh, when you get on that other side, it's wonderful. You see, all the responsibility is His. You don't have to worry about what's going to happen. That's His responsibility. Now He's in charge of your life. Now He makes the decisions. He opens the doors. He pushes you in where He wants you, and I want you to know He does it. He pushes you in. You never have to run around hunting your place. The place is wanting you. You never have to run around finding the right individuals to influence so that you might get this place. He sends them to you. You really have gone beyond that point of disturbance. You've come into that place of peace that passes all understanding. And you're now just one with Him. That means you're one with all power in heaven and earth. You're one with His wisdom. You are there where He can lead you every moment into that place, and I want you to know that place satisfies. Nothing else does. I want you to know that it fulfills every desire of your heart. It uses talents that you didn't dream you possessed. You wouldn't have found them in your own human strength. But when His Spirit is leading, when you have yielded your life to Him and you're letting Him lead you, why, you develop talents that you're amazed that little you could possess. So you see, you've lost all strain and all stress. And you found that great peace and that unshakable joy, for Jesus held that. He held it there in the upper room. He held it before Pontius Pilate. He held it before the Sanhedrin. He held it on the cross. It's something that's unshakable. It's you. That's His Spirit. And His Spirit is joy and peace and victory and service. It's activity, all right. And yet there is such peace and quietness and poise in the midst of activity. There's nothing else that satisfies. Now we still might be wondering, but how do you hand it over like that? Well, the only way I know how to make it real clear is to take the story of the little seeds. You know, God is so great, so infinite, so wonderful that every tiny seed that's formed, and there's billions and trillions of seed every year, everything produces its seed. And in every one of those seed is the life of God, His life. And wherever His life is, His wisdom is, His power is. His pattern, His plan is. So in every tiny seed, there is the life of God. There is the wisdom of God. There's the plan of God. And every tiny seed, God has taken such care that it may become the thing that brought it into being and produce 1,000, yea, 1,000,000-fold. But we know very well that most seeds never get planted, so they never become. Most of them go through their tiny little existence just as a little seed, when they could have been a plant or a tree or a shrub or something wonderful, but they didn't. Now the world's gotten along very well without all the seeds getting planted. But the world has not gotten along very well because all the sons of God didn't get planted. Every one of us came in the world as a little planting of God. We are the sons of God potentially, every one of us. We have locked up within our beings His life, His wisdom, His power, the pattern for our individual lives. And they tell me if you planted every apple seed and every one of them grew, that every leaf on every apple tree would be a tiny bit different. There's no two that are just identical. There's no two people in the world that are identical. There's no two people in the world that God has given an identical pattern. You have a pattern of life that's different from anyone else in the world. And only God knows it. But there it is. That pattern of your life is within you, even as the pattern of the oak tree was in each acre. But most of them didn't get planted. Most of us haven't gotten planted. Some of us think that when we join the church that that's planting. It should be, but it isn't always. Or if we haven't had an experience in our lives that shifted the emphasis from self to God, we're just church members. We're just good scouts. We're just mighty nice people. We're not sons of God. Now, before that little acorn could become an oak tree, it had to be planted. And it doesn't make any difference much how it gets planted or where it gets planted. A cow might step on it and it got pushed in the ground. It would grow. Because it was lost. Because from the time that acorn gets pushed in the ground, the miracle begins to work. Now, you know, sometimes we just offer ourselves to God and get planted. But I found that most of us have to get stepped on before we get planted. I did. Oh, I was an awfully good Christian. I was the daughter of a Methodist minister, and the doors weren't open that I wasn't there. The mother didn't have any babysitters. And so when the doors were open, the whole family went to church, and the baby just slept on the pew. When you could sit up, you sat on the pew and leaned over on Mother, but we went to church. I didn't know it was ever possible not to go to church or Sunday school or any other church meeting. Well, you see, I grew up at the church, and naturally I thought I was an awfully good Christian. And then as a little child, I had this critical illness. And there wasn't anything the doctors could do. I had taken ill over in the country. My appendix had burst 5 days before they got me to town, and I had peritonitis for 5 days, and I was barely breathing. But this wonderful Christian doctor and my Christian father and mother just put me in the hands of the great physician and gave their lives as his channel and said, now, Lord, if she's done the thing you put her in the world to do, if she served her purpose, it's all right for her, you to take her. But if she hasn't, and we can't think that she has, why, we know that you are able to restore her, and so we're offering our lives for you to use as a channel to bring her back. And I came back. Well, my father and mother reminded me almost daily that God had spared my life for his purpose, and so I must be ready to do anything he wanted. But you know, they never did tell me that God would do it through me. That didn't mean I had to kill myself trying to do things. That his power was available to do these things through me. They didn't tell me that. I doubt if they knew it. Well, I didn't know it, and I really killed myself just trying to do everything anybody asked me to do. I thought I owed it to work. And when I reached 40, why, I was a complete wreck again. And I had gone so long on borrowed strength to try to just keep on doing it. Again, when I faced the doctors, they said, there's no hope. You have just waited too long, and there's nothing can be done. Well, my mother and father and this wonderful doctor were in heaven. We had a prayer group in our church by then, but I wasn't a member. I was too busy. I was too busy doing all the other things in the church to take time to be still and learn how to pray. I hadn't joined it. But when they heard the verdict that there was no hope offered for my life, they had said they wouldn't even try to operate, but my husband had insisted upon that. And he said, all right, if you want me to open her, I'll open her. But we know that it's beyond anything we can do. The prayer group came and said, we want you to know that from the time you are carried to the operating room until we hear that you're all right, we'll be kneeling at the altar in prayer. We'll be giving God the channel to work through. We don't think your life is finished. Well, you know, that was all I needed. I knew that if God had spared my life once, he could spare it again, and I didn't think either that my life was finished. So I had absolutely no fear as they carried me to the hospital. And I was on the operating table about 5 hours, so they had quite a time on their knees. But they brought me down, and when they brought me down, my husband said to the nurse, how is she? The nurse said they took out of her more than she could possibly live without, but she certainly couldn't live with it. And that's all I can tell you, she's breathing. Well, I hovered between life and death for 6 weeks breathing. And sometimes in such agony that I wish they would let me die. For some days, they kept my husband coming in and out of the room every half hour. But when he would come in, I would exert myself to try to live. And as soon as he'd go, I'd relax and think, oh, no, they'll just let me go. You see, they had learned that if you have the will to live, you have God's power to live by. And so he just kept coming in and out of the room. And I took hold of that will to live again, and I came through all right. And they had taken my second appendix out of me at this time and let me know that they had it in alcohol and would show it to me. It was a very peculiar looking thing. They knew it was the second appendix, for it didn't even resemble the first one. But the doctor said very frankly, you know, it was functioning better than anything in you. I said, oh, and you took it out. Well, of course, he didn't like to say, well, we thought you were a goner, and we might as well have that curio. But he'd let me know this, that if God could grow me a second appendix, he could take care of these other organs that I couldn't live without, too. The doctors haven't made anything on me since. So I evidently have those other organs that I couldn't live without, because I surely have been having a big time. Well, I learned how to die to self then. Yes, I was 40 then. and I learned how to give it all over to God. For it was in that year, I had a year left there. It was a year before I got my strength back and was able to drive a car and enter into things again. But that was the best year of my life. Because in that year, the Lord saw that I got the right books to read that let me understand that we cannot continue to go in our own strength. We're not supposed to. It's God that offers us the strength, and when we'll let Him furnish the strength and the power and the guidance and the wisdom and open the doors and create the opportunities, why then all you do is just float along. I learned that year. And that's been the most valuable lesson I've ever learned. And then I realized that it was the law of life. When you're willing to lose your life and stop going your own way and go God's way, He carries all the responsibilities. It's the equivalent of being born again. You know, some of us don't like that word at all because some of these queer preachers have identified it with weeping and wailing and sawdust trails and all those things. Somehow or other it's gone against our nature. But it's exactly what He means. You are born again. You do become a brand new creature. You're a new creation. Because it's no longer you that's living. It's Christ living in you. And everybody loves you better, for all of us have a few little quirks that are not so nice. And other people seem to see them more clearly than we. But everybody loves Jesus. They can't help it. And when they see Him living in us, they love us. There's something so alluring about it. Well, that's what He means. You know, it's what Jesus meant when He gave that first message that we have any record of. Repent. For the kingdom of heaven is at hand. And that word repent simply means turn around. Stop going your way, go God's way. That's what the word repent means. Don't you like that better than weeping and wailing and sawdust trails? I do. All right, that's what it means. Well, why does He want us to turn around? He gives you the purpose. Because the kingdom of heaven is here waiting to become a reality. That thing that He taught us to pray for every day. We all pray it. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And if you've had the chance to run around and see this old beautiful earth as much as I have, you would wonder if heaven could possibly be more beautiful. We were in Mexico for 3 weeks last fall. Why, Mexico is as beautiful as the Garden of Eden, I think. I can't imagine it being any more beautiful than Mexico. But the kingdom of heaven isn't there yet. It's on its way. But it could be there if there was enough of us there whose lives had been utterly made new. Enough people who were new creations to transform it. They're hungry for it. They want it. Oh, how eagerly they greeted us, begged us to come back. That's true all over the world. For there is something in every soul that's yearning for the kingdom. And that's why He's told us to turn around and stop going our way. Go His way because the kingdom is waiting. Now the next message we have after He gave us the platform of this kingdom. And in His first sermon, you remember there in Nazareth, He gave us the platform of the kingdom. It had already been given to Isaiah. He was reading from Isaiah. It begins with the Spirit of the Lord is upon me. And the kingdom isn't growing through any one of us until that Spirit of the Lord is dominating my life. It's upon me, it's within me, it's directing me, it's using me. And then the kingdom of heaven is there within you, and it's spreading all around you wherever you are. Whatever you're doing, and you're going to be doing just about the same things you thought you would be doing. But oh, you're going to be doing them in a different way. There's going to be different results. Well, the next message after the unfolding of the kingdom, and remember that kingdom ministers to every need of every man. Read it. 4th chapter of Luke. Read your platform of your kingdom. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he has anointed me to carry good news to the poor. And how the poor in the world today are waiting for that good news, and why aren't we taking it to them? He sent me to release the captives. That's what he's put us here for. And there isn't anyone in the world that isn't a captive to something unless our lives have been utterly yielded to him. Then we're released from all these things that would bind us and limit us and make us captive. Think of the captives we have in this country, that has more joys and privileges and opportunities than any nation that ever lived. Think of the captives to drink. Isn't it pathetic? That people could expect to find joy in something that's bound to ruin you. Oh, they never dreamed that it could hurt them. No alcoholic ever thought that if he took a drink, it would ever do that to him. He's always the exception. But oh, think of the millions. More money spent on liquor in our country last year than anything else. 5 times as much money spent for liquor as was spent in the entire church program of every denomination, sect, and creed. 5 times as much. Captives. But Jesus came to set the captives free, but we won't be freed until we're letting his Spirit do it. He came to make the blind see, not just spiritually blind, but oh, how many there are of the spiritually blind. But he came to make the blind see. But he came to take care of these physical defects too. He made the ones that were really blind, he opened their eyes. He made the lame to walk, the lepers were cleansed. The paralytics got up and walked, and the dead were raised. That's a part of his kingdom. We haven't seemed to find it. And so if you'll follow that platform of the kingdom, every bit of it is ministering to the needs of men. And there's nothing that gives us more joy than getting out and helping someone else who's helpless but hasn't found the way. They're lost. They just haven't been found. And they haven't been found because there hasn't been enough of us who have lost our lives in Christ to let him find them. Because he can find every single one of them. He can bring every single one into the kingdom. Help everyone find the abundant life if he has enough of us to go out and do it. Well, this next message is, come follow me. I will make you fishers of men. There's the whole plan. All we do is come and follow Jesus. Now, because God's Spirit lived completely in one human being, for Jesus laid down everything that we could not attain to when he came into this world in human form. He began in the very beginning. Born of a virgin. Wonderful, wonderful. Oh, that wasn't wonderful in Nazareth. Nazareth was a wicked little city. And for Jesus to be born of a virgin in Nazareth wasn't wonderful. Not to them. It is to us. Mary could have told about the vision that came to her all she pleased. So could Joseph. Those people wouldn't have believed a word of it. He was born of a virgin. He was born on the minus side. He was born in a stable. He didn't even have a decent place to be born. And he went through life not owning anything. He gave it all back to God. And yet he had everything. He was even buried in a borrowed tomb. Now, if it's hard for us to understand this mystical experience of losing ourselves and finding him, you've got Jesus to follow. Every one of us can visualize Jesus. And that's a wonderful picture, isn't it? Just follow him. Just read those Gospels until he lives in you. But he's a very vital part of you. And it won't be long until you'll be aware he does live within you. That same Spirit that lived in Jesus lives in you also. Just come, follow him. He will make you, you see. You don't do it yourself. You don't struggle and strain and say, but how can I be like him? Or how can I do those things? You don't have to worry. He makes you. All you do is yield yourself and follow. He leads the way. He opens the door. He does it. He makes you. Why does he do it? That you might be fishers of men. That's the purpose of God, is to bring his children home. And his love is never going to give up until every single soul has been brought home. Jesus couldn't even rest in the grave those couple days. While the body lay in the grave, his spirit went and preached to the lost souls in hell. I don't know why the Methodists took that out of their creed. It belongs in there. And I adore going to the Episcopal Church and the ones that say, dead and buried, descended into hell, because he did. He left, his spirit went to minister to those lost souls who had refused their opportunity when they were living. Yes, God's love is going to pursue you throughout eternity until you've been wooed home. I love that kind of a God, don't you? Everybody loves that kind of a love. Everybody eventually responds to love. And he is such perfect love that everybody eventually is going to be one. And they would all be one now if our generation had been faithful. If we'd known these things, if someone had told them to us and made us see it. Oh, this old kingdom should have been here. We shouldn't have lost our best sons in these last 2 wars, last 3 wars. They didn't call Korea war, but we lost them just the same. We don't have to continue it. God has the plan. He has the power. He has the way. He has the pattern. And he knows just what to do with each individual life to bring it to pass. And you don't have to worry about what's going to happen in Russia. And how is this going to get taken care of? That's God's part. And he's got his witnesses there too. But the thing you're concerned with is, what is he going to do with me? And how is he going to use my life? And if he needs you in Russia, he'll get you there. An iron curtain won't hold you back. It's the only life in the world that's satisfied. The only one. And I just have to tell this to you when I have the opportunity. And if I break into a junior high, I tell them too. For I find that they are glad to know that they don't have to worry about, am I going to have a job? Am I going to really be a success? Everyone's going to be a success. If you're letting God live in you and you're letting his Spirit direct you. It's the only life. that anyone can live with freedom and liberty and joy and have all the things that satisfy. But it's going to be a life of plenty of activity. Plenty of activity. You aren't going to rusticate. And you might go to bed at night just like I went last night, just poured out. I wasn't sure whether I was going to be able to get up the steps even. I so poured out last night. But I find that he resurrects you each night, and you get up the next morning ready to go again. Now, if you all are going to hear a real sermon, I expect I'd better stop talking.